fucking year. This one goes out to my nigga Mike Cooley. Hell yeah. Hellraiser. Born thuggin', heartless and mean, muggin' at 16 on the scene, watching fiends buggin', kicking up dust with the older G's, soaking up the game that was told to me. I ain't never touched a gap that I couldn't shoot. I learned not to trust a bitch from the prostitutes for taught lessons. A young nigga asking questions while other suckers was guessing I was gangsta sexing. Elementary wasn't meant for me. Cake the credit. I'm headed for the penitentiary, cutting glass in, I'm fucking blasting, straight mashing, mobbing through the overpass laughing. While these other motherfuckers try to figure out. No doubt, they jealous of the niggas.
And we're back. Tru Radio on WLVS Radio coming to you live from the city. Myself, CP3. We got DC People's Champ in the building.
What up, though?
What's going on, man? Sheeta P is on the way. We know it's been a couple of weeks since y'all have seen Sheeta.
Yeah,
I've seen on the Facebook
thirsty.
Lives. Y'all been asking where she at. She's on the way. She's a model. She's going to be fashionably late. That's what they do.
So relax.
Yes, just relax. She's going to be here soon. Hopefully she'll be strolling in very shortly. But as always, we have another great show where we'll be covering a vast plethora, I love that word, plethora of topics. Yes, that is a street nigga word.
I'm about to say, that's an educated street nigga
You
word.
damn right. You got to use them big words sometimes, especially when you get pulled over. You got to use those words to try to throw off the, whoever might have pulled you over.
You ain't
or
lying.
whatever.
You
know what I'm
ain't
saying?
lying, dog.
Hey, man, you know how we got to survive out here in these streets, man.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a lot going on tonight. As I mentioned, we don't have Black GOP in the building. Want to give a shout out to him. He had a little health issue yesterday. Life-changing moment of his own that he's healing up and recouping. He wanted to make it tonight. You know he did, but the doctors had to hold him down and keep him locked up in the hospital to make sure he's good to come home and we can get back and handling this Tru Radio business.
Yes, indeed. Prayers out to Black GOP. You know we're going to hold it down for you, player.
You know it. He probably tuned in now.
Yes, indeed.
All right. We also going to talk about some sports. We're going to talk about some politics. We're going to talk about the Nipsey Hussle funeral tomorrow. I know Sheeta going to have some information on that.
Word.
But let's go ahead and get started with some sports talk. Let's get this show started while we waiting on Miss Sheeta P. As you notice, I have the Stanley Cup parade towel out because it's that time. NHL playoffs.
Caps.
Caps trying to go back to back. We already got NHL playoff hardly starting tonight. I'm going to go ahead and go over the games that's already started. You got Pittsburgh versus the Islanders, which is definitely going to be a great matchup. I wish I was home watching that right now. But I'm here doing this show because it's what I love to do. Then you got St. Louis versus Winnipeg. You got Columbus versus Tampa Bay. That's going now. St. Louis, Winnipeg started at 8. You got Dallas, Nashville starting at 9:30. They'll be dropping the puck in about 28 minutes. And then you got Vegas versus San Jose at 10:30. So you got 3 games going on right now. One more get ready to start. And one more probably I'll be watching when I get home from doing the show tonight because it's nothing like playoff hockey. That late night up till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning watching a great playoff game. It's nothing like it.
And I have some scores for you already.
All right, perfect segue,
Yeah,
my
so
man.
Tampa Bay currently has a 3-1 lead over the Blue Jackets at the end of 2. The Islanders have a 2-1 lead over Pittsburgh. They're in the second.
Nice.
And at the end of 1, Winnipeg currently holds a 1-0 lead over St. Louis.
Wow. Out of all of those games, that's the one game I wouldn't expect to see 1-0 in Winnipeg, as much as they like to score and run up and down the ice. But those are some interesting early scores. Hopefully we'll have those scores by the end of the show, or maybe not. But definitely check out the NHL playoffs that's starting. Let's talk about the Caps, who will be kicking off their trying to repeat run, go to back-to-back tomorrow night on USA Network with a 7:30 puck drop. Canes versus Caps. Capitals swept the season series 4-0. And yes, there's
By the way, all you thirsty niggas, your favorite person is here. Look at her.
2 weeks.
This nigga here.
Yes, Sheeta is back in the building.
On her CP,
Folks have been
CPT
asking
joint.
about you, Sheeta. Are you okay? Everybody wants to know. They've been wondering where Sheeta's at. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay, everybody. I just had some issues, couple of car stuff going on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we already gave a shout out to Black GOP. Hopefully healing up in the hospital. No, he wanted to be here tonight, but
Yeah, shout out to Black GOP. Prayers going up.
Yes, sir. So we getting into some sports talk before we go a little further. We was talking about the Capitals kick off their playoff run tomorrow night versus the Hurricanes. Like I said, 7:30 puck drop at Capital One Arena. The Capitals swept the season series 4-0. It's definitely going to be a hard-hitting defensive affair because Carolina does have some of the top defensemen in the league. And they played them tough all 4 games this season. The Capitals just were the better team. But you know playoff hockey is always different. So it's going to be an interesting series. It starts tomorrow night, 7:30. So make sure you tune in. And also we'll be having our boxing, MMA, and Nationals, and I guess Capitals talk tomorrow night too. So we'll be giving updates on that tomorrow night on Tru Radio Network Sports on the Hill podcast. So make sure you tune in for that. Ken, what do you expect from this first round matchup with the Hurricanes?
Well, I expect, like you said, the Hurricanes do play the Caps pretty tough. They do have a tough blue line of defensemen. But the Capitals, for the second year in a row, are actually coming into the playoffs actually on full cylinders because as I mentioned to someone earlier, in past seasons, a lot of times they come into the playoffs already having clinched the division, having clinched the President's Cup, so they're really not really playing for much, so they don't really have that motivation. Last year, it took until a week before the season ended before they won the Metro. This season, they won it with 2 games left in the season.
Yeah, 1 game left. They was playing, and they won it. And with 1 game left, if they wouldn't have, they would have had to face the Islanders for the Metropolitan Division, the last game of the season. And if you
we
saw
saw
the
how that
results,
turned out.
Yeah, well, they did have healthy scratches, so you know the whole team wasn't there. And before we go any further, I just saw Jay Legend come on. I forgot that quick.
Oh my!
We have a huge promo. If you saw the flyers going out, we got NBA YoungBoy at the Beckley Convention Center, June 29th. Igor, you the man. Go get tickets. We have a special promotion that's going up and it's coming down at 10:30 tonight. You can go online and purchase your tickets for $42.50. That's right, half price. So you can go cop them things right now. The Beckley, www.beckleyconventioncenter.com. Go cop your tickets. You get them for $42.50. The promotion ends at 10:30 tonight. So go ahead and cop them tickets. I forgot I was supposed to do that at the top of the show, but I seen Jay Legend. I got you, bro.
Word.
Oh, yeah. We lit.
So make sure you get those tickets. We got a lot going on up there in West Virginia. It's not that far away.
Y'all might even see me up there.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
We're going to get
Y'all might
these
even
people's
see. I might even pull up.
Oh,
You know what I'm
damn.
saying?
He probably going to lift somebody up there so he can get paid on the way up there,
My
too.
nigga, listen.
I already know.
Listen.
I already know how you think, bro. I already know how you think.
You gotta be smart.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Right.
Getting back into this sports talk. If you a baseball fan like myself, you've been following the Nats. They 5-5, and last night they had a great comeback against the Phillies and the new DC's people enemy Bryce Harper. They came back from a 6-1 deficit to win in the 10th inning, 10-6, powered by 2 of the young Nats phenoms. And they said for the first time in MLB history, 2 players under the age of 21 homered after the 8th inning to win a game. Now, you know baseball has so many analytics, and it's crazy that they would even have a stat to even encompass that, but that's why I love baseball, because you can find out any type of stat anywhere of any type of player on the field. So it's a beautiful thing. But the game was a 10-6 victory. Bryce Harper, he had a 3-run home run off of Strasburg, which is also history breaking because it was the first time a number 1 pick hit a home run off another number 1 pick from the previous season. So, like I said, there's so many analytics in baseball. They can pull all types of records out of their ass whenever they want
And
to.
nice-looking men, you know.
Hey, that's what you need to do. You need to hire one of them baseball players, because they got that long
I'm about to
dough.
say,
They got that long dough.
Baseball players.
Hey, they got that long dough, man. They got a long season, too, 162 games. I mean, you can be chilling, when they go to Florida. You can go down there with them, and you can stay home. So that might be something you want to think about, maybe going around Nats Park doing some lifting, so you might catch somebody, too.
Ooh, yeah.
Ideas, like I
Good
said.
idea.
We always
Thank
thinking
you.
up here. All right. As I mentioned, it was Victor Robles. He hit a solo home run to tie the game up.
Robles in the building.
I always mess his name up. I hope I never meet him and mess it up. He's probably going to smack me. And there's nothing I can do be like, damn, you're right, dog. I disrespected your name. But he hit a solo home run with a final strike of the game. It was 2 outs, 2 strikes, nobody on. He hit a home run to tie the game, to force it to extra innings. And then the Nats took over. They got a couple of base hits. Anthony Rendon is the one is hot as hell right now. He's the second highest ranked hitter in the league right now. When I left the house, he was hitting .421. He had just had a single in the first when the Nats were up 3-0 on the Phillies, trying to get that rubber match tonight to win the series. But he came up and killed the 3-run home run that was about 432 feet. And it was a beautiful thing. I posted a video. Y'all checked it out. Appreciate that on Sports on the Hill podcast on Facebook.
Damn.
Yeah, it was. Oh, what you over there looking at, Ken? What happened?
Looking at the Nats up 9-0 on the Phillies in the top of 6.
That's
Yeah, get the
Everybody
Phillies
was all
the fuck
tripping.
out of here.
That's what I'm talking. And they up in Philly. That's the most beautiful thing. So all of
them
that
the
stuff
fuck
that
outta
went down
here,
last
dog.
week with Bryce, having a good game and beating the Nats 8-2. Yeah, I told you it's a long season. So that bat flip, yeah, that joint gonna come back to haunt you, dog.
How about that?
Ooh.
But let's see. Yeah, Victor Robles and Juan Soto, my man, who I said would be a beautiful seamless replacement for Bryce Harper. He's only not even 20 years old yet. And last year he was in the running for the Rookie of the Year. I feel like this team could build around him, which it seems like they have done in this offseason. It's just, early season, trying to find themselves. They had the most free agents that they've had in a long time. And they still have a second-year manager that's still trying to find his way. And I know GOP's watching. I'm not racist against Martinez, so don't even go there. He just got to step his game up. That's all I'm saying. But as I mentioned, Ken just mentioned they're up 9-0, so it looks like they're going to win this matchup, this series that is.
Well, let's not say that, though.
Well, yeah, true. They did come back from 6-1, but they're on their way to wrapping up the series win, which they definitely could use to get above 500. Ken, I know you said you were watching some of the NCAA. If you checked out the game Monday night, we talked a little bit about it on Sports on the Hill podcast on Tru Radio Network every Monday night. Another shameless plug.
You're welcome.
Virginia defeated Texas Tech in overtime, 85-77 to get their first national championship ever in school history. I fell asleep on the game after, my team got knocked out and I couldn't win the bracket challenge. I really didn't give a damn anymore. But, Ken, did you check out the game and what did you think about it?
I unfortunately did not because, me being a wrestling fan, one of the most entertaining Raws of the year is usually the Raw after WrestleMania. So I unfortunately, my attention was on that. But I do got to give a shout out and congratulations to Virginia. They really had a full turnaround after last year. They became infamous for being the first ever number 1 seed to lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament. That's a huge turnaround from that to now being the top dogs in college basketball. So big shout out to them. I actually had a Lyft passenger yesterday who said she hadn't eaten all day because she's a Virginia alum and she was nervous about this game. I'm sure she was celebrating.
Oh, yeah. They was partying in Charlottesville.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
no, big shout out to Virginia. And now, now Virginia is definitely going to be a focal point in terms of recruiting. Especially for players in this area because Charlottesville ain't but like 2.5 hours from here.
Yeah, I've been
there
before.
This is definitely going to be big for their recruiting, especially players in this area. Now that they have won the national championship and they've shed that infamous mark on them of being the first ever number 1 seed to be eliminated and upset by a 16 seed in the tournament.
Yeah, it was definitely a surge when Maryland won in 2002. I remember that run when I still was watching college basketball.
I remember that too.
Yeah, that was definitely a sweet run. So definitely you're going to see a boost. But Virginia's been, pretty good for a while. They've been getting good recruiting. So now it's just going to get amazing. They're, competing with Duke. No telling. Well, we know Zion probably going to be gone, but that's definitely going to be good for their class. And since we're talking basketball, I'll go ahead and let you talk about the Wiz, who finished their season on Monday night with another loss to Boston, 116-110, and ended up 32-50, 11th in the East. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Ken, you take it away.
Yeah, not a very good season for the team. Injuries did play a large part in it. Also, the poor decision-making of Ernie Grunfeld, who's no longer with the team. The team did finish at 32-50. The last time they had a 50-loss season was back about 6 seasons ago, actually, the 2012-2013 season. They actually finished with a poor road record as well, 10 wins and 31 losses on the road. Now there are a lot of questions for the Wizards going into the offseason. There are already talks that there's a possibility John Wall might not even play at all next season, given the fact that he had surgery on his heel in December to prevent an Achilles injury.
Dang.
Then he falls at home and tears his Achilles in the same leg.
Dang.
And so he had to have surgery on that. So there's no guarantee that he'll even play next year, and his Supermax extension kicks in starting next season. He's actually going to go from making $19.1 million this year to making almost $38 million next year, and it's only going to go up into the 40s in the following years. So next season, this man could potentially be sitting on the bench and still make almost $38 million without playing a single minute of basketball. But one positive spot for the Wizards this season was the play of Bradley Beal, who made the All-Star game. And CP3, I know you said it many a times on Sports on the Hill podcast that as a two guard, he should average 25, 5, and 5. Well, he managed to do that this season.
I'm not
first
psychic,
time.
I just know a little bit. I'm not psychic. I just know a little bit.
Exactly. He's the first Wizards player in the history of the franchise to average 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists a game for the season, which could really boost his resume to be named to the All-NBA team, which if he is named to the All-NBA team, he will then be eligible for a Supermax extension down the line. So that's one bright spot. Other bright spots include players like Thomas Bryant, who with the absence of Dwight Howard was able to shine. And as well as rookies like Troy Brown Jr. and Chasson Randall, who came up from the G League go-go team and showed out. So you have a lot of pieces that can really contribute next season, but you also have to realize that there are a lot of pieces that could be walking out the door, and you got to be able to have the money to keep them here. So it's going to be a lot. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered this all season. With the record being what it is, they have actually I believe the 6th worst record in the league, which gives them a better spot, a chance to get a top pick, not the top overall pick, but like a top 10 pick in the lottery.
The lottery is rigged.
Yeah, I know. We don't need to go into that, but this could give them an opportunity to be able to find them a good young player coming out of college that can really add to the team dynamic. With Beal leading the way while Wall is still recovering from that torn Achilles. But all in all, very disappointing season. It was hopeful that they could win and really slow the momentum of Boston, who was playing really for nothing yesterday, Tuesday, because they're already locked into the 4th seed. They couldn't move up or down. But all in all, not a very good season for the Wizards, but hopefully better days are to come for this team.
I mean, with the jaw wall, I read the article, and he said he was supposed to be back healthy by 2 months into the season, but he wanted to make sure that he was, 100% right, and with an Achilles and with, the injuries he's had in previous seasons.
Dang.
I can't
Well,
say you let him ride the bench for 3
previous
years.
There was
injuries
no
before?
way. I'm sorry, what was
he,
that?
Yeah, he's had knee injuries.
He's had knee injuries, but
the
the fact that someone
Dang.
said that he could potentially be back 2 months into the season, that was unrealistic because they already said that the recovery time for the torn Achilles was going to be 12 months, and it happened in February.
Okay.
So there was no way he was going to be back in like October, November. No way in hell. Like I said, he's gone on record as saying if the doctors give him the clearance to go, he'll be on the floor. But there are no plans for next year for him to be at the point for the Wizards for the 2019-2020 season while he recovers from that injury.
That makes sense.
Wow.
That definitely makes sense. So hopefully he does get healthy, because if you can get Bill playing like he's played this season and a healthy Wall and some of the pieces they picked up at the trade deadline, Portis and Jabari Parker. Was it Jabari? That's his name? Jabari?
Yeah, Jabari Parker, who came over
I
from
remember,
Chicago.
even though I don't watch the NBA,
Don't even
NCAA.
ask me. I don't know.
That was big. That was major when they got Jabari
figured,
Parker
yeah.
and Bobby Portis from Chicago. They really contributed as soon as they came into the door. That was great. Those were great moves to offset letting go of Porter and letting go of Kelly Oubre and Keith Morris.
Yeah.
So those were probably some of the better moves that Ernie made even before they kicked his ass out of here, was to get Portis and Parker, because they definitely contributed.
They were two of his better moves. And GOP did chime in and say it is racist for me not to like Martinez.
Of course he did.
And just to wrap up the sports, football season is about around the corner. We got the draft coming up, the 25th at the end of the month. And if you tuned in to Sports on the Hill podcast 3 weeks ago, we had our NFL draft talk. We're probably going to get into it a little bit more closer to the draft time. So make sure you check us out and get ready for that. And so much more. The Valor season's about to start. We're about to start covering that again. I think the Mystic season's about to start. If you saw the picture that I put up with Tiana Hawkins, she came into my store, that's just how it is in DC sports sometimes. You just run into people even when you're just at work. So it is what it is. But that's pretty much the wrap up for sports. Ken, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about this past WrestleMania before we get to Sheeta with some of this entertainment news.
Just a few quick hits from this past weekend's WrestleMania. NXT TakeOver, which took place on Friday night, was a great event. All their championships were on the line. One of them was vacated due to injury, and Johnny Gargano won it in a 2 out of 3 falls match against Adam Cole in a thrilling match. It was a great moment. Also, the UK champion, who had been champion for almost 2 years, was finally dethroned. Walter defeated Pete Dunne, and the other championships were all successfully defended. WrestleMania, 10 championships were on the line, and 8 of them changed hands. That's the most title changes in WrestleMania history. One of those included the history-making winner-take-all women's triple threat main event, where Becky Lynch defeated Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey to become the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion.
Shoulder wasn't down?
Wow.
Yes, no, trust me. Hey, CP3, you and everybody else will be listening to No Spots this Friday because we are going to talk about that.
Yeah, I had to check that out when I saw it. I was like, what the hell?
No, trust me. We are going to talk about that this Friday, 9 p.m. on Tru Radio Network. Shameless plug.
So somebody beat Ronda Rousey?
Yep.
It was
And trust me, listen to the show on Friday. I'm gonna break it that all the way down because there's some funny shit that was in that one. I'm gonna talk about it.
That's right.
But other than that, great weekend of wrestling. There was even a wrestling event with Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling that took place at Madison Square Garden during the same weekend. We're gonna talk about that on Friday, and then of course Raw and SmackDown happened this past week. And we actually saw the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which were successfully defended on WrestleMania. The Usos lost them on SmackDown to the Hardy Boys, who are now 8-time Tag Team Champions.
Are they in wheelchairs and
No, they're not.
now?
No, they're not.
On,
They're still,
got to be about 50.
Nah, they're still doing it. They're
Jesus.
still doing it. So they're now 8-time Tag Team Champions. Lars Sullivan, who was highly touted and highly promoted individual coming up from NXT, finally debuted after going through his issues with anxiety. He's finally debuted on the main roster and made appearances on both Raw and SmackDown. Dean Ambrose had his final appearance on Raw this past Monday. His contract is up and he is out of there.
What?
Yep, he is gone. And if you go to WWE's YouTube channel, there is actually a great moment that went on off air with Ambrose along with Rollins, who's the new Universal Champion, and Roman Reigns. They give the one and final
My
goodbye.
boyfriend.
There you go.
Can you turn my mic up a little bit?
They have a final little moment before the live crowd. And also, The Undertaker made an appearance on Raw.
Oh, shit.
Beating up Elias. Then next week is the Superstar Shakeup, which is what they usually do after WrestleMania, where they start to switch up a lot of the talent to different shows and everything like that. That's going to start next Monday. We're going to get into all of that this Friday on No Spots, myself and Donnie Wrestling. So that's my little bit of a wrestling recap this weekend. It was a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen going forward. Money in the Bank is the next event for that.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, Miss Sheeta P, you've been away for a while. Folks have been clamoring for your entertainment news. So what's popping off in the entertainment?
Thirsty,
We know.
dog.
I'm glad. That's how you got it. I'm glad they're thirsty, you know?
Hey, you gotta have them watch.
I need them to stay thirsty.
That's right. They need to tune in.
Stay thirsty and tune in.
They don't want to see us up here. They want to see her.
Well, of course, I just kind of want to cover the Nipsey Hussle and Kodak Black acting crazy.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. Please, I hope you got some detail for that because I need to get context of some of the stuff that I heard just to make sure I'm hearing it right.
So I got some detail on it. So I guess we'll start in with the Kodak Black. So Kodak Black gets online. He does a video and says basically that he's interested in Laura London.
Oh my God, are you fucking kidding?
Even if it takes her a year or 3, whatever, he's down for it.
Oh my
You know what I'm
God.
saying? So
Somebody get Kodak Black the fuck out of here. Like, seriously?
I mean, I don't know. I've heard his name. I don't know who he is, but that's
the
not
man
good.
ain't even in the ground yet, and you already plotting on his baby mama?
Yup.
Seriously?
For
My
real.
nigga.
Nigga.
Go ahead. Go ahead, keep going. 'Cause
So that's bad. So other rappers tuned in on T.I. The Game, and T.I. was like, you need to have a little bit more respect. You know what I'm saying? You need to fix what you've done because that's not cool.
Yeah.
The Game chimed in and said the same thing, and a few other people, and they were just telling him that it's not cool. So he drops another video and basically tells them, I don't care what you say.
So he doubled down.
Yeah.
He's an
I don't
idiot.
care what you say. I can say what I want to say. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. I was just saying, Then he comes back with another video and apologizes.
Nah, fuck that. Nah, you passed that point, my mans. When you did a follow up and double down, you can't apologize at this point. You gotta die on that
Because
hill.
I thought he tried to go at Game again. I saw something on him when I.
He
scrolled
might
through it.
have.
Yeah, so now he didn't because he don't want that work from Game. I'm an old school Game fan, so he definitely don't want that work from Game in the studio or outside.
Game
the
is
studio.
a real street nigga.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He want the problem.
He don't want that work in the studio or outside the studio. I don't even know who Kodak Black or Kodiak, whatever he is.
Kodak Black music ain't even that popping for him to be acting like this.
I like Kodak Black music. You
Man,
know what
his
I'm
music's trash. Yeah,
saying?
I mean, if you got a name, he doing something.
Yeah,
right,
I like
so.
his music. He got some stuff with French Montana and stuff.
Oh,
It's pretty dope. But he played himself. I think so.
Yeah, that's not cool.
And he flustered a lot of feathers and they spoke on it. But he came back. He didn't apologize to none of the, he didn't apologize to T.I. He was like, he's not apologizing to them. What's up? He's apologizing to Nipsey Hussle and Laura London. Everybody else can eat a dick, basically.
Either way, you gotta apologize. If you want to chalk it up, however you want.
AJ.
If you said something wrong, you had to come back and apologize. And simple as that, just don't say it again. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was disrespectful.
Yeah.
I definitely think
Like
it
I
was
said, the
disrespectful.
man's not even in the ground yet, and you already plotting on Laura London. I get it. Laura London is a very attractive young lady, but the woman just lost the man that she loves, the father of her child. And you plotting on her already.
Plotting. But that's how niggas are.
I mean, that's
Oh
something
yeah, I'll take care of you, girl. Something happened to
I mean,
you.
that's something I would say. I mean, that's
I
something I
hope
would say
none- I
in
would
a
hope none of
Facebook
the
battle.
people that I would hope none of the people that I'm cool with would act that way if I go and try to plot on my girl like that, because that would be some shit. That's some grimy shit right
I mean,
there.
I say something like that. Like if I'm in a heated Facebook, debate with somebody, and I'm just trying to, piss
Yeah.
them off. I say that just to say it, in a more crueler way.
Yeah.
But there's something that's real life, and everybody's hurting over this, and the funeral's tomorrow. And like I
Yes.
said, he's not even in the ground yet. I mean, that's just mad niggerish. That's the only way I could put it, man. What
And
else?
then to add on to it, he also
Jesus.
was calling him dude. He wasn't even, thanks AJ, he was calling him dude. He wasn't even like saying Nipsey, like basically whoever he is, like you know what I'm saying? The respect was very low.
These young folks don't understand.
It was
respect.
very low.
Yeah, that's not cool at all, especially with the way he passed and the way he was trying to help folks in the community.
Yeah.
It's uncalled for, but he wanted his 15 minutes of fame, and I guess he getting it. 'Cause
He
we
had to
talking about his ass.
chime in, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we talking about his ass right now, so I guess he got what he wanted.
So Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace to Nipsey. Definitely a big mogul out here. And, I didn't even realize all of the things that he's done until, I knew some of it, like, buying basically the block. And
Yeah, I didn't know anything until unfortunately he passed, and then I started reading about him and saw some of the things that he did and the programs he tried to instill in the hood and try
Yep.
to get folks understanding that it's not about the flash and the drugs and the videos, that you can do bigger and better things by, going to school and getting an education. So that's what it's all about. It's sad that he got taken out. We talked about it last week with
Yeah.
Polo Stacks, with all the insight, with apparently the reason why he got killed. And it's senseless. And like I said, I got a moment that I'm going to talk about a little bit later on that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. So it's just, 10 seconds of emotion or frustration can ruin your life, that person's life that you're, killing their family, their children. It's not worth it, man. I just don't get it. It's bigger things going on in this world than, some instant frustration you feel you got to go grab a gun. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Facts.
That was whack. So they're having a funeral tomorrow. There's a couple, the tickets have already been sold. So if you didn't buy a ticket, you're not getting in. They're not having outside monitors for people who are going to view or want to view the funeral, but you can follow everybody that's, basically going into the funeral or whatever, but you can't go inside if you don't have a ticket. There's also rules and regulations at the funeral. There will be metal detectors. They will be checking inside of your bags very deeply, and that's understandably so because the way he got killed. And so those are pretty much the rules. So no big bags, none of that.
No, it's deeper than that. I was actually checking out the news earlier. I'll check out TMZ before we come on just so I can stay on top with you, Sheedy, know what's going on. Yeah. But they said it's going to be a 25-mile procession that they're going to, wrap around through his hood. They're going to have mass police protection. They're going to, even the Nation of Islam is going to be out there for protection because apparently at his vigil they had the day after he got killed, shooting broke out outside of his store, and apparently someone was with the intent of coming up there to kill people. That was just intent. So they're definitely doubling down. Like you said, the tickets, were sold. I don't think they were sold. They were given away to only LA residents. So they was like gone like that. And hopefully it's nothing crazy, nothing stupid. Hopefully that man can get laid to rest in peace and no more senseless violence happens because somebody wants to be stupid or feel a certain way. Right. Hopefully they can rest that man in peace.
Yeah, hopefully. And it's at the Staples Center. And they only do like the big stars if you didn't know, like Michael Jackson, his funeral was at the Staples Center. So that's where they'll be holding it tomorrow, right?
Yep.
So that's when it all goes down. And that pretty much wraps up all the entertainment news.
That's really what's cycling the airwaves right now.
Yeah, that's cycling. I mean, French Montana's getting sued because apparently his songs, a couple of them, the beat maker said that that's his beat, and they're trying to take him to court
it and didn't clear it. Okay,
so they're trying to get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta make sure, like 151 was talking about last week. You gotta make sure you got the masters right, you got them copyrights together, and you gotta do it the right way. So I don't know much about it, but hopefully he can take care of his business and don't get hurt too bad if they do win or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, the entertainment world is really, really, upside down. We talked a little bit about the scandal with the college tuition with the, rich folks, Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. This is what I just want to touch on that a little bit because I find this hilarious. I was watching the white outrage that the government is going to throw at Lori Loughlin because they gave her an option. All of the 16 people, they gave her an option to plead guilty, do 4 months jail time, you good to go. She was the only one that didn't plead guilty, so they took those charges away, doubled down, added conspiracy and money laundering charges for it, where now instead of possibly doing 4 months, she might be doing 4 years if she gets convicted. And I forgot what shoe designer, because I'm not in the shoes, but he came out to her defense saying that even if she was found guilty, she shouldn't do any jail time. Wow. And Harvey Levin of TMZ, I don't like dropping names, but he was, he's a lawyer, so he was saying he was all outraged that, they're going beyond the call and, you're trying to do this and do that just to prove a point. But I'm like, you remember the 1, 2, 3 laws that they put for crack back in the day, the difference that they did with the black youth, but now because it's a rich white person, it's outraged because they're getting treated like a black person, sad to say.
Fuck out of here.
I mean, it trips me out how people skew the perspective and have their point of view, and then they have the platform where they can put it out there. So that's why I just put it out there just now, because we have a platform on Tru Radio Network on WLVS Radio every Wednesday night, I can say stuff like that because I can.
Yeah.
There's also some things going on in our community here in DC. The Go-Go playing.
Definitely.
I knew that was going to come up.
I know Ken wanted to talk about, but she pulled it out, so go ahead, pull it out, Ken.
I pulled it out. Right, that don't sound right.
I'm about to say pause. That's a whole
That
pause.
sounds different.
But yes, there was a hashtag that went viral over the last couple of days. Don't Mute DC was off of a story of the owner of the Metro PCS phone store that's located at the corner of Florida and Georgia Avenue. For decades, he's played go-go music out of a speaker out the front of his store. But recently, neighbors have moved in. They have complained about the noise, and even though the music was well within the noise ordinance laws of the city, the resident in question threatened to sue because of the noise. So T-Mobile, who currently owns Metro PCS, ordered the music to be turned off, and the city went into an uproar because they felt that a major part of DC culture was being silenced. So petitions went around. People like Mayor Muriel Bowser and other luminaries and influential people from the district spoke up about it. There was a rally on 14th and U Street on Tuesday to try to get this turned around. And just today, the music's back on.
Oh yeah,
I actually rode past there on my way here today and heard the music, and there was a nice little crowd of people in front of the store dancing and beating their feet because they was happy that the music is back. I didn't I saw all of this. I didn't feel outraged. I just knew it was a weird feeling because for 3 years, almost 3 years of driving Lyft, I always find myself driving past that store and was always used to hearing the music. And then when I didn't hear it for the last 2 days, it was weird. Yeah. But no outrage, but it was weird. But it really enraged an entire city.
With this. Well, I got a unique perspective.
Yeah, we already talked about that pre-production.
We
got pre-production around here, folks.
I don't have a problem.
WLVS.
Yes, sir. I don't have a problem with the go-go music being played. I like go-go music. I love go-go music. But there's room for compromise. The only issue that there really originally was the volume of the music. When they went to T-Mobile or Metro PCS, whoever, they were the ones that decided to tell them to turn the music off. So my thing is, now that you have these, everyone's upset about the gentrification and, white folks moving in, how would you feel if they started blasting Guns N' Roses all day?
Yeah, everybody would feel some type of way.
Then it'd be a whole thing then. So, I mean, I understand, that's what the culture is. That's what's been over there. I'm not saying turn it off. Just, it's like you said, it's in the city ordinance. But if you have people saying, hey, can you, turn it down a little bit, is, boom, boom, boom. And they say it's also a safety concern for some of the blind folks that use the tones for the crosswalk, that they can't hear the tones when it's time to cross. So if you're talking about safety and compromise, I don't really see an issue in turning it down.
Did they?
Just a little. I mean, I hope that they did compromise. I don't know. Ken said DC People Channel said he rode through there. So did you?
Yeah, it was. I did notice that the volume did seem a little lower than normal. So I think they have come to some kind of a compromise. Yeah. If not, they've already created a little bit of a compromise on their own to lower the volume just a little bit than normal and such. So I'm sure that it's gone, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of discussion about it in the days and weeks moving forward about that.
Did they complain about the safety and all that before?
Well,
or this just came up?
They had mentioned it, but they made a point to add that to one of the things what they saying about being too loud. But I mean, we got to compromise. We all got to live in this world, this city, together. So we got to, compromise and work with each other. Folks want to, stand pat and dig their heels in and whatever. But we see where that gets us. Nowhere. So got to have compromise. And the last thing I'm going to say about gentrification, with folks being upset, I was telling Ken that one of my good buddies hates the Nationals because the Nationals Park went down there and changed the whole area. If the folks
he's
that
an
was,
idiot.
Yeah, I mean, he believes in what he feels. I mean, I'm not gonna call him an idiot because he had valid points.
I'm gonna call him an idiot.
But if the folks that lived there for so long would have taken care of the neighborhood, would take care of the neighborhood, then you wouldn't have these folks coming in now, taking over the neighborhood because they're trying to get money into it. If we would invest into our own communities and not tear them down and doing some of the stuff that we've done over the years, then we wouldn't have this issue right now. So.
Well, I got word.
Uh-oh.
Thanks, AJ. another great host in the DC area on Win DC. Shout out to AJ.
Nice.
AJ Throwback. The ANC commissioner said that she's received complaints for years, but they never had to enforce anything. So
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
That's real interesting.
I mean, what you got? You got these high price, high rises, folks paying $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 for a place to live. You know where it's going to go. So hopefully, that's to say, compromise has to go both ways. Normally, it would be to the folks with the means that they would get their way, but as we've seen in this instance, the people spoke up. Some of the council folks spoke up. Muriel Braza spoke up, so that they found a compromise. So now we can move forward, and it's not a big deal. And the city came together for something that wasn't, a tragedy or anything. Normally, we only see the city come together when something bad happens, but something brought the city together for a couple of days. Hopefully, that continues. Because, we had a lot of gun violence lately that hopefully doesn't get worse. You know how it is when it gets hot. Fools get stupider, and hopefully we don't have that trend going into this summer.
Yeah. Quick update on the Nationals Phillies. They are now up 11-0 in the top of the seventh, and there's still only one out.
Jesus, top of the seventh?
In the seventh inning. They're doing it right now.
That's what I'm talking about. And I'm glad I set my DVR so I can go home and rewatch it when I get back home.
There you go.
Hey, shout out to King K.I. over there. He came through to listen to the show.
Appreciate that, man. I always love to have an audience to check us out.
Real quick, with Black GOP not being here, and again, big prayers to GOP. Take care of yourself.
Do a quick break before you went into politics and get on that.
My
and
bad.
Get on my soapbox.
Let's take a
Here you
break.
go. Let's take a quick 5-minute break. Make sure we good. We're going to transition to some politics and some real talk real quick. We got to get from the silly side of the show to the real side. So take a quick little break, and we'll be back with some real talk coming up. Tru Radio Network on WLVS Radio coming to you live.
We be back.
Damn, they're running out of time, everybody's done. Mama raised the hell raiser, I can't figure why you let the police beat down niggas. I'm starting to think all the rich in the world are safe, while the poor babies rusting in the early graves. God come save the youth, ain't nothing else to do but have faith in you. I live a life for the thug, hope you understand. Forgive me for my mistakes, I gotta play my hand. And my hands on the 16 shot, semi-automatic, crooked clock, killing clock. Tell me, oh, can you feel that? Show away. I'm praying for my enemies won't go away. And everywhere I turn, I see niggas burn. Every nigga that I know's on death row. My younger homie 17, and he paid the price. Little young motherfucker doing triple life. Though I tell him in his letters, it's getting better. If my nigga knew the truth, he hit the roof. Just heard your baby's mom got smoked out. Fuck the drama, wanna wipe my love out. The smoking blunts getting drunk, but that's ain't a real kid. But to wake my nigga out the
Damn, son, where'd you
we
find
count
this?
money, nigga. All my niggas count money, bro. Team, bitch, I'm on my cream. Hey, double call with them.
And we're back after that quick little break. Had to stretch our legs and get our mind right for this next segment. I'm going to let Ken start it off with some political news since GOP isn't in the building tonight. We'll let Ken get a little politics on tonight.
Yes, indeed. Just want to send a quick rest in peace and condolences to one Michael Bush, Democrat from the county of Anne Arundel in Maryland, the longest tenured Speaker of the House in Maryland, the longest in history, passed away recently after developing pneumonia at the age of 72. His death resonated very strongly with all politicians in the state of Maryland on both sides of the aisle because of the fact that he worked so well with both sides of the aisle. Again, he was long tenured Speaker of the House, spent 16 years as the Speaker of the House. And he was actually known affectionately as Coach because he was always coaching and mentoring a lot of the newer and younger politicians and House delegates that came onto the scene. His body is currently lying in state in Annapolis, and I believe his funeral is either going to be it was either today or it'll be tomorrow, but it's definitely a difficult loss for the House, as again he was one of the pillars of that institution. Matter of fact, he passed away the day before the legislative session was to end. So they had a special session where they ended it prematurely to pay respects to Mr. Bush. Mr. Bush was also, because of his long standing as a speaker, was at the helm when same-sex marriages were made legal in the state of Maryland. He was also big on environmental issues, especially in regards to the Chesapeake Bay. And again, he was just a well-liked and well-respected individual in the House of Delegates. So rest in peace to Michael Bush. Prayers, condolences, and love to his family, as well as his constituents, as well as his fellow delegates who had the pleasure of working with him, alongside him, and to be mentored and to be encouraged by him.
No doubt, no doubt. Rest in peace. Prayers to him and his family. You know, all his dedicated work in the community. You know, being a civil servant is never an easy job, but you know he did it for a long time, and you know hopefully his family have prayers with them and everything is good to go with them. Normally I don't get on the real life tip because I normally keep most of the stuff that goes on in my crazy life on the back burner, but I had a life-changing moment happen yesterday. Funny thing that you think you know people, but you don't, no matter how long. I've known, you know, I just met this guy on my second job. He was a cook, you know, cool dude. We used to chill. I used to pick him up for work every day, drink a beer with him, you know, do some, you know, yeah. And, you know, talk to him, looked at him as like a friend. But something always seemed a little off. And I say that to say this about, we were talking about the violence and, you know, split-second emotion and 10 seconds costing you your whole life. Come to find out, this dude who I've been chilling with, hanging out with for the last 6 months, was on the run for murdering his wife.
Ooh.
This man had over 7 domestic abuse charges against him by 2 separate women. The first had 2 of his children that he got an assault charge in 2016. But we know how how the abusers and their victims, it's hard for them to break away. So at one point, this man pulled out a gun, beat his girlfriend at the time, pulled out a gun in front of his daughter, put it to his baby mother's head, and told his daughter if she calls the police, he will kill her mother right then and there. Now, she filed charges, but recanted later on because had 2 kids, both young. She had no way to take care of them, so she was caught in that cycle. And she had to recant, ended up taking them back, but luckily she was smart enough to get away. And she's good to go now. But this man still had a problem. So he got married 2017 to another young lady, had a kid with her. 2018, June, after she had filed charges against him, she had reneged and took him back. And for some reason, this man decided to kill his wife in the front door of their house that they owned together. And he had been on the run since then. Now, this is someone I considered a friend, someone who, you know, I would have deep conversations with. He had just had some, you know, beef at the job that I had talked him through to, you know, keep it chill and no reason to, you know, escalate things that don't have to be. Ooh. But just, it really fucked me up yesterday because first of all, why would you have to take someone's life because they didn't agree with you, they cheated on you, they didn't want to be with you, whatever? Why does it have to go to that extreme that you have to take that person's life just because you can't deal with reality or what's going on in the real world? And it's sad and sickening. And I talk to a lot of I'm in a lot of mentoring groups and talk to a lot of, at-risk youth. And these are the same conversations that I have with them. I just felt like I just had to get it out because, like I say, the last 24 hours, my head has just been going crazy, just thinking about some of the conversations that we had and some of the things that he said that now make sense that didn't make sense before. So it's just one of my folks was like, just, you got to watch your circle. Try to find out who folks are. Like I said, we wasn't cool, whatever, but I considered him a friend. And at the same time, when he got popped by the fugitives, I could have been with him, no telling what could have happened. Then I could have got jammed up in some stuff that I had no idea about.
Right.
So, I mean, it's crazy, man. I'm just saying, folks make better choices. Emotion will fuck you every time.
Yes.
If you do stuff based off of emotion, you don't know why you did it 10 minutes later and you're like, well, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Because I'm caught up in some, but it's going to ruin your life, ruin that person's life, their family, their children, all of that. It's not worth it. So,
you know what? Not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I've experienced that myself. But this particular situation, it was an artist that wanted to work with me, I can't even remember his name. But
Don't need names.
Right.
Don't need names.
But so we were talking for like a week straight. A week straight talking, how we're gonna put the song together. He's done some shows with some famous people. Like the 7th day of the week, the next day, he's arrested for killing his wife. Wow. And I had my kids in the car with me. You know what I mean? I was going to meet him, sitting at the library trying to formulate a song. And the end of the week, he just kills his wife. So,
wow.
I'm very reserved at this point. A lot of people see me; they know I'm always on joke time. But hearing about a gentleman who has all these domestic abuse charges, it really hurts my heart because my better half, who I've been with for nearly 6 years, she, prior to our relationship, was in an abusive relationship. Her daughter's father was extremely abusive to her, broke her arm. She caught him cheating on her in her bed with another woman. Oof. And he decided he beat her for catching him cheating. And she was in that same cycle too. And if it wasn't for the fact that he went into a mode and put hands on her and his own daughter, that she finally had enough and left. Because Lord knows, had she not left, I wouldn't have her in my life and I wouldn't have my son. So, and I'm getting a little emotional right now just thinking about it. I'm just, just hearing these type of stories, it just breaks my heart. Like, ladies, it's hard. Trust me. Like I said, I'm sure my better half has nightmares about it every night. It's hard, but if you're in a situation where the man you love is harming you, get out.
Get the hell out of there.
To go. He doesn't love you.
Out.
For real.
Even if you have no place to go, find somewhere to go.
The hell out of there.
Do not stay.
Ain't worth
Please don't stay, because it's only going to get worse. They're going to give you the excuses of, oh, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with that. I love you. Do not believe that shit.
Don't.
Get out. Get away. If you have any kind of money in your pocket, get a bus ticket and go somewhere. Okay? Get out. Don't end up being someone that, hey, they have to lay you to rest because you couldn't get away. You can get away. All you gotta do is just do it.
No doubt. But we're not going to end the show on that note.
We can end the show saying the Nationals are now at 14-0.
Good gracious! I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to watch that game when I get home. But before we get out of here, Sheeta, let them know where you can find you before I could plug these events we got coming up before we get out of here.
Oh, yeah. You can find me SHIDA_POPE or Sheeta Pope, same spelling with no underscore on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google me, Bing me, Yahoo me, YouTube me, whatever you need to do.
No doubt. DC People's Champ, let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Facebook. You can actually like my fan page, DC's People's Champ. Excuse me. You can actually also like our my podcast Facebook page, which is facebook.com/NoSpotsPod, as well as follow us on Twitter at TrueNoSpotsPod. Or you can follow me on Twitter, DC's People's Champ. Follow my co-host, DWrestling73. So that's where you can find us. And again, Friday night, Tru Radio Network, No Spots Podcast.
You know you can find me, #CP3, the letter 3 I's, not the number 3, #SportsOTHP, #Tru Radio Network. Make sure you go to BeckleyConventionCenter.com before 10:30 and cop your tickets for NBA Youngboy, June 29th.
Yeah, baby.
Tickets are half price, $42.50 right now. You can cop them up until 10:30. After that, the link will be changed. It'll go back to regular price. Check us out. Tru Radio on WLVS Radio, and we're out. See you next week.
See ya.
Bye. Ow.